Now at 9, brutal storms blow through southwest Missouri overnight. We take a look at the damage. Plus, the KCU Joplin School of Dental Medicine hosts an orientation for its first class of students. And the Pittsburgh Junior Dragons Youth League hosts a camp for younger kids to get into the sport.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Tanya Bach. Just as the KOAM Skywatch weather team warned us could happen, last night's storms brought down trees and power lines in parts of the 4 states. In Joplin, the storms are blamed for at least 1 car crash. They also brought down trees and power lines, leaving many residents without power overnight. In Barton County, Missouri is one area hit particularly hard by last night's storm. KOAM's Anthony Saviello gives us a look.
When it comes to riding out the storm, the plan is simple. Find the safest place possible and hunker down. But what happens when you don't know the storm is coming? For people in Lamar, the damage of an unexpected storm speaks for itself.
I got up at midnight, turned the TV back on, and heard a loud crash. So I was trying to peek out every window to see. I knew it was a tree. I didn't know which one. And then so I saw this tree in the front here.
I met Brenda as I drove through town and took in the damage left behind by this storm. A storm that left hundreds without power.
Here in Lamar, there's dozens of reports of trees, limbs, and even power poles like the one behind me here covering the streets. However, city officials are working quickly to get the damage taken care of.
The city will be picking up brush throughout the week and probably into next week. We just asked if residents do have brush or tree limbs, just pile them up out of the ditch, but close to the road as possible, and we'll get those picked up in the next week or so.
Though Brenda may have to deal with a bigger stick than what she's used to picking up, she's thankful the damage wasn't worse, and that officials are working quickly to get her home back to normal.
I called 911. They were so good to come out and check. A deputy came out, and then the city came out to check it and see if I was okay. Great job for both of them, yes.
Storms that cause damage like this to Brenda's home are evidence of just how unpredictable the weather can be. So it's important to stay safe and have a plan. Reporting in Barton County, Missouri, I'm Anthony Saviello, KOAM News.
You can stay on top of the forecast with our Skywatch weather team and by downloading the Skywatch weather app. And we have received word from city officials in Lamar that all residents should now have power. Well, after a wild night, it was nice to have a much calmer day today. Meteorologist Sam Lane joins us with a first look at the forecast.
Yeah, it's a lot calmer tonight than it was last night at this time as we were watching the storms moving down from the Topeka area right through our area. And of course, we were giving people warning about that. And at least the rain had cooled things down a little bit. We didn't get as hot as we were expecting earlier today, but radar is all clear right now and it's going to stay that way through most of the evening. Temperatures dropping through the 80s down into the 70s by tomorrow morning at 77 for your low. Tomorrow, the UV index is going to be high once again, in fact, very high because of all the sunshine. So make sure that you are taking the precautions out there as the burn time is only about 10 to 15 minutes. Looking down the lane, we have partly cloudy skies tonight, but we have a very hot week in store for us with low rain chances. But we do have light at the end of the tunnel, and that means a cooler weekend ahead. And of course, I'll tell you all about that in just a little bit.
All right, thanks, Sam. The 4 states has dealt with triple-digit temperatures for a stretch of days now, but the city of Joplin has relief to offer. Cooling centers have popped up around the city in preparation for another week of extreme heat. These include Joplin City Hall, Joplin Health Department, the Donald Clark Public Safety Center, and the Joplin Athletic Center. These cooling centers are open from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Junior Dragons Youth League hosted a football camp today. The Junior Dragons had the chance to practice the basics of football with members of the Pittsburgh High School football staff and current Dragons players.
So today we have, starting at grades pre-K through 2nd grade, the high school kids are getting together and helping us with the camp today. A lot of the high school kids actually started in Junior Dragons. So for them to come back and teach our kids, the youngest of them is really good.
Well, tomorrow is the start of camp for 3rd through 6th graders, and there is still time to sign up for the Junior Dragons regular season games for the league will begin in September. Victory Life Church is giving Pittsburgh parents a new option for childcare. Today they opened a new facility called Sunshine Childcare. It's at 681 Highway 69. Officials say it'll provide an enriching experience for kids.
There's no deadline. It's just we open and then we start filling spots. So yeah, no deadline. We just know that this is a major need for our community. This is a great facility. It's a great new childcare. In a great location right off the highway, so it's a great piece for our community.
Sunshine Childcare will be hosting an open house on Thursday from 4 to 7 p.m. Compass Academy celebrated the accomplishments of some of its Columbus, Kansas students. The Academy hosted its first ever graduation ceremony for its Columbus CAN Summer Enrichment Program. Officials say the graduation celebrates a significant accomplishment for these students.
I hope that when they leave here, they feel like they have this sense of, I can do whatever I put my mind to doing. So if I want to continue through school and I decide to become an art therapist, that I can figure out how to do that through understanding, that I have to work as a team and that I can be creative, that I can figure out all of these different things, that they can kind of put things in place so they can grow into what they want to become.
The Compass Academy provides hands-on learning for middle schoolers. It started in Joplin, but this year expanded to Columbus. KCU Joplin welcomes its first class of students for its new College of Dental Medicine. Classes don't start until August, but the students today were able to get familiar with the campus and their classrooms. Many areas across the country face a dental shortage, and officials say they hope these students can help fill that gap locally.
Very excited. I definitely, while I was in nursing school, I found my passion and love for studying medicine and studying, the human body, and especially just connecting with people, in the healthcare setting. And so I'm very excited to be able to start studying that more in a specialized area.
The student orientation will last for 3 weeks. Coming up, health experts warn about summer illnesses you should be on the lookout for. Viruses like COVID-19, the flu, and RSV are more common during the winter months, but health experts say even over the summer, certain sicknesses can circulate. Mandy Gaither tells us which illnesses a doctor says to watch out for right now.
From respiratory illnesses to the tummy troubles, germs don't take a break.
There's a lot of things we have to watch out for, even in the summertime.
This time of year, families travel and tend to be around more people or in crowds. So when it comes to your health, don't let your guard down, says Dr. Neha Viaz with Cleveland Clinic.
Remember way back before the pandemic when the viruses were just general old-fashioned summer viruses, summer colds, sinus infections, those kinds of things. They're still around.
Viaz says other illnesses that tend to circulate over summer, gastrointestinal issues, pink eye, yeast infections, even warts.
Plantar warts come up through walking around barefoot, in the pool area or in the gym area.
Viaz says to wear flip-flops or other shoes to protect feet in shared spaces. She also says to continue to be vigilant when it comes to COVID-19. That virus is also still circulating.
It's generally not as severe, although, different people are affected in different ways.
Viaz says to not take a vacation from the precautions you always take to stay healthy, including covering coughs and sneezes, staying away from others when you're sick, and hand washing.
Well, the CDC says cases of leprosy are on the rise in Florida, and cases in the southern U.S. have more than doubled over the last 10 years. Leprosy, also known as Hansen's disease, is caused by bacteria and causes skin discoloration, lumps, ulcers, and damage to the nerves. Florida now accounts for almost 1/5 of nationally reported cases. CDC says it's usually spread during lengthy person-to-person contact through airborne droplets from the nose and mouth of an infected person. Well, federal health officials are ramping up their efforts to learn more about long COVID. Patients with the condition suffer ongoing health problems after their initial infection, lasting weeks, months, or sometimes even years. The National Institute of Health is launching new clinical trials to test 4 possible treatments for long COVID. Sam is next with a complete look at the forecast. And later, a Wichita splash pad reopens, giving residents a break from these rising temperatures.
Well, about 24 hours ago, we were dealing with severe weather, but nothing like that tonight. Instead, mostly fair and calm conditions out there. And also, we enjoyed a cooler afternoon with the rain that we had from last night. Right now in Seneca, Missouri, at Indigo Sky Casino Resort, you can see just a few thin cirrus clouds out there right now. We only made it up to 94 today, which was still above normal, but we'll take it. 70 was the low, which was right on target for normal. We had almost 7/10 of an inch of rain yesterday. That certainly helps, but we're still behind for the month and also for the year on rainfall, so we're definitely needing some more. Flood watch, believe it or not, is in effect for central Missouri, but that's not going to really be impacting us, as tonight we're going to see mostly fair skies. Temperatures are generally comfortable, 85 in Fort Scott, 84 in Iola, 84 for our friends in Nevada as well as Stockton. A little bit warmer out to the west, 87 in Independence, and still 90 right now at this hour in Chinook. Now tomorrow, when you factor in the dew point and the humidity with the temperatures, it's going to feel like 112 in Lamar. So thank goodness they have the AC back on there. And 110 in Stockton and Nevada, 111 in Fort Scott. It's just going to be brutal across the area. Then as we go into Wednesday, more of the same. Temperatures feeling like 110 plus for Lamar northward, 109 in Baxter Springs and in Joplin, 107 in Independence. It's just going to be hot out there. Then as we go into Thursday, a little bit cooler. Temperatures will feel like you're in the lower 100s. Rain chances are going to be low, pretty close to zero for the next 36 hours, unfortunately. Any rain that does occur is mainly going to be up to the north and east tonight. And then as we go into Friday morning, we might see some scattered showers drop 1/10 or so in some isolated spots. But we're going to have to wait until this ridge of high pressure gets out of the way. But over the next few days, it's going to park itself right over the south central plains, and that means the heat dome is going to be right on top of us. And then as we go into Thursday night and Friday, the jet stream is going to start pounding it away at it, and it's going to retreat back to the south and west. And that's going to allow cooler and also a chance of showers and storms to start coming back into our picture. So that's some pretty good news, especially as we head towards the weekend. Temperatures tonight are going to be in the upper 70s to lower 80s. And then tomorrow afternoon, it's going to be hot. Temperatures right around 100 degrees, maybe a little bit more. And then as we go into Tuesday night and Wednesday morning, lows once again in the 70s, near 80. And then Wednesday afternoon, hot again. Temperatures above 100, 102 in Joplin, 102 in Pittsburgh, 104 in Fredonia. And then as we go into Wednesday night and Thursday morning, lows in the 70s, near 80 once again. And then Thursday afternoon, of course, hot as well. 8 to 14 day forecast. I do have some good news. Look at the cooler than normal weather expected across the northern plains. We're kind of on the borderline here. All the hot weather is going to be shoved down to the south and also increased moisture. So that's good. And the dry weather will start to retreat back towards the west. So that is some decent news in our 7-day forecast and also our 10-day forecast. As you can see, we're going to have a hot week, but then as we head towards the weekend, cooler, and hopefully, Tanya, staying cooler or near normal at least, early part of next week.
I felt like we got a little bit of a break today, though. That was nice.
Just a tad.
And then it's back up to triple digits again.
Yeah, we're going to have to deal with that for a few days. But then normal starts to come back, whatever normal is around here, starts to come back towards the weekend.
Yeah, we'll ask about the definition of normal later.
Exactly.
All right, thanks, Sam. Well, with that heat, many people are trying to cool off at the pool or just staying inside in the AC, but some are back at the Splash Aqua Park in South Wichita as it reopens after recent vandalism. Joe Baker has the details.
Triple-digit heat continues across the state, many looking to cool off and some choosing to do so at Splash Aqua Park.
It's miserable. I mean, I work outside, so it's even worse. You know, it's hard to stay hydrated and just like keep up with it, you know?
I'm sure it's going to feel great to get in, and I'm hoping it's cold, honestly, instead of hot.
However, visitors didn't get access to the full experience. Splash Aqua Park is only half open because of recent vandalism, and this instance wasn't the first time.
It's been a lot more rampant. Last year we only had like one incident. This year it's been quite a few.
The manager of Splash Aqua Park says vandals cost $60,000 to $75,000 in damages, causing the park to shut down, but reopen this weekend with half of its gear. And with this recent heat wave, it's leading to a loss in revenue.
It was at a bad timing with this heat wave. It's perfect weather to have a full park right now, but we are doing half price, so $9, which is a good thing.
Visitors say it's just unacceptable.
I just think it's really messed up that somebody would do that, you know? It's just a place for fun.
We just show up because it's hot. We drove an hour just to come, and we're like, man, I wonder why. And then we're informed that there's been some vandalism, and we're just like, wow, that's crazy. Who would do that to something meant for fun?
Despite the setbacks, the park says it's going to continue to provide heat relief for its guests through the end of the season.
The perseverance is real. We're going strong, and we're going to keep going. The more people we have out here, the more fun it is. And yeah, no, the weather's definitely big influence, and the water's really cold right now, so it's pretty nice to get in there and have fun with your friends.
Looks like a cool water park to cool off in. Well, coming up, countdown to the 2024 presidential election.
Former President Trump dominates in the GOP primary race despite his legal challenges. I'm Mallory Rivera in Washington with what a new poll says coming up.
Well, we got a slight break in the temps today, but it's still hot outside. In addition to keeping yourself safe from the heat, your car also needs a little attention in the hot weather. Fox's Anita Roman has some tips on what you can do to keep your vehicle cool.
Most people can't avoid heading out in the hot summer sun. The drive to work, running errands, picking the kids up. Wherever you go, you want your commute to be cool and comfortable.
If they're plugged, you have a lot lower volume coming out of your vents.
Make sure your vents are clean, your AC is charged. John Kitzmiller's a tech at TKG Automotive in North Scottsdale. He's been on the job for 35 years.
The best thing to do would be crack your windows, put your AC on fresh air, and turn your AC on. You can have it on the high volume, but just let it blow like that for about, 5 or 6 minutes, and then go ahead and close your windows. That'll blow the hot air out. Go ahead and close your windows, then turn it to recirculation and max air, and that should help cool the interior quicker.
Then what we're going to do is we're going to put our shade in here.
What about the sunshades? Do they work? We put them to the test.
I have a smaller thermometer. That's what we were able to get. I'm going to put that in the front seat.
2 news cars, 1 shade. The temp outside, roughly 106 degrees. 1 hour later.
Gosh.
140. What?
Wow, look at that. It says 120 on here.
The car without the sunshade heated up to 120 degrees. The car with the shade stayed steady at about 100.
Especially with the extreme heat that we've been having, it takes a toll on the AC systems in general. If they're slightly weak from last year, then when the extreme heat hits us, we see a lot of failure.
Ed Lopez, owner of TKG Automotive, also suggests starting your car ahead of time, about 10 minutes, so it can cool down slowly, putting less strain on your AC. His shop is getting upwards of 6 calls a day, people needing that air conditioning fix, something he says you can avoid if you follow their advice.
Well, the Biden administration is proposing modest increases to fuel efficiency standards. The Department of Transportation's new rules would increase efficiency by 2% per year for cars and 4% for light trucks. And that would result in most vehicles getting around 43 miles per gallon by 2032. Earlier this year, the Environmental Protection Agency proposed dramatically increasing the number of electric vehicles on the road. But some critics are expressing concerns they don't require new vehicles to be efficient enough. Well, gas prices are climbing, and the Biden administration officials say they're keeping a watchful eye. Senior White House officials say President Joe Biden's top advisors have been briefing him on the situation. AAA says the average price of gas rose 2 cents per gallon yesterday to $3.73. That follows the biggest one-day spike since June of 2022 earlier in the week. Up next, we'll take a look where the new Barbie movie is currently standing in the box office. The Barbie movie is still raking in cash and headed toward a new record globally. Going strong in its second week, Barbie earned $93 million domestically and more than $131 million altogether in global sales just this weekend. Now, Barbie has now earned a global total of about $775 million over 12 days. Film experts project the movie could make $1 billion total by next weekend. 30 more minutes of news, weather, and sports coming your way. We take a look at how the latest legal troubles are impacting former President Trump in the polls. Plus, how our nationwide heat wave is impacting conditions at the border as immigrants continue to cross the Rio Grande. Parsons, Kansas residents tomorrow will vote on whether to renew a public safety sales tax. The tax supports funding competitive pay to retain experienced police officers and firefighters and to pay for training. It also helps buy vehicles and other critical equipment. The tax has been in place for more than a decade. If approved, the tax would continue for another 10 years. Despite a pair of indictments and a couple more hanging over his head, a new poll shows former President Trump is far and away the front runner in the GOP primary contest. Fox News correspondent Madeline Rivera reports from Washington on the state of the race.
Proving his grip on the Republican Party, a new poll shows former President Trump is crushing his 2024 GOP primary rivals. Despite his mounting legal problems, the former president is leading his biggest competitor, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, by a whopping 37 percentage points.
They want to damage the leading candidate, by the way, leading by far, I have to say. DeSantis is gone.
Trump faces a possible third indictment in the special counsel's January 6 investigation. And in Fulton County, Georgia, the district attorney says she's ready to move forward with charging decisions in her probe into Trump's alleged efforts to overturn the 2020 election results in the state. Yet most Republican White House hopefuls have so far hesitated to directly criticize Trump. Those who do are quickly booed.
Donald Trump is running to stay out of prison. And if we elect
Governor DeSantis, whose campaign is undergoing a reset, has oftentimes stuck to his stump speech. But he made a rare rebuke of Trump.
What I've said the whole time is, some of the name calling stuff, I think it's juvenile.
And with the Iowa caucuses about 6 months away, political insiders say there's still plenty of room for change.
There are some big things that could still happen that could really shape this primary. Iowa caucus goers have a real kind of culture of hearing candidates out, going to see everyone and really weighing their options.
A strong debate performance becomes all the more crucial in a crowded primary field. The first debate will be on August 23rd. In Washington, Madeline Rivera, Fox News.
Former President Donald Trump's team is creating a new legal defense fund. The money will help offset some of Trump's legal bills and the bills of some of his current and former aides caught up in the various investigations of the former president. Trump's Political Action Committee, Save America, already has spent more than $40 million on his legal fees and the fees of some of his associates since the start of the year. An urgent search is underway in Haiti for a kidnapped American nurse and her child. Alex Dorsonville works for a nonprofit organization that provides schooling to underserved Haitian students. She's married to the group's founder, and last week's kidnapping came amid skyrocketing unrest, crime, and gang violence in Haiti after the country's president was assassinated 2 years ago. Well, southern border crossings are on the rise despite a massive heat wave that's sweeping across the region. Scorching temperatures are fueling a surge of heat-related rescues. Fox News senior correspondent Casey Stiegel has more.
A massive heat wave is still gripping the south, sending temperatures into the triple digits for yet another week. Despite the brutal conditions, the Texas Department of Public Safety says southern border crossings are on the rise, now up to 5,000 a day. But the trip could come at a cost. According to U.S. Customs and Border Protection, as of last month, agents nationwide made more than 25,000 rescues this year. In Yuma, Arizona, officials say migrants often receive misleading travel information from cartels and smugglers trying to make a profit.
That they can walk to, Phoenix, coming in the general area, like somewhere in the Sonoran Desert, or they can walk to Los Angeles, be there within a day, which is obviously not true.
Just outside El Paso in Sunland Park, New Mexico, fire officials say they typically see more rescues from migrants falling over the border wall. Now they're responding to a growing number of heat-related illnesses, including heat stroke, exhaustion, and dehydration. Migrants often get lost deep in the desert, making the mission a dangerous one for first responders.
When these migrants come over and get lost in this area,
The majority of the time, they're not found immediately. They're found days, if not weeks, after they've succumbed to their injuries.
Officials say they expect these heat-related rescues to rise through the rest of summer. That's the latest from Dallas. Casey Stiegel, Fox News.
A bit later, we'll take a look at how new AI technology gave one man the ability to walk again.
Well, we enjoyed a little bit cooler weather today with temperatures only making it into the mid-90s. That's because of the storms and the rain last night, but we don't have any storms tonight, so that means temperatures are going to soar tomorrow. Let's take a look outside right now at Indigo Sky Casino and Resort just outside of Seneca, Missouri. Pretty nice night shaping up out there with just a few clouds in the distance. There's that high of 94 this afternoon after starting out at 70, which was right on normal, a little bit above on the average high. And for the month, we're still behind on the rainfall, about 2 inches and about 11 inches for the year, even though we picked up almost 7/10 of an inch of rain last night. No rain on radar right now, but we do have a flood watch for central Missouri as we're expecting more storm complexes to roll to our north and east over the next few days. But here in our area, we're going to stay dry for the most part and also very toasty. Right now, temperatures are not that bad. 83 in Nevada, 85 in Fort Scott, 88 in Neodesha, still 90 at Chanute, so a little bit warm out there. And tomorrow, when you factor in the dew point, it's going to feel like 112 in Lamar, 111 in the metro area, 108 in Welch, as well as Nowata. And that's going to continue right on into Wednesday with temperatures feeling close to 110 in Lamar and above that in Nevada and in Stockton. So a brutal day shaping up on Wednesday. Thursday, a tad cooler, feeling like only 104 or 102 in Lockwood, 105 in Baxter Springs. And it gets better, though, as we go through the forecast. But for the next 36 hours, rain chances are going to be pretty much close to zero across our area. Any rain that falls over the next 24 to 36 hours are going to be way up to the north and east. But as we go into Friday, we'll start to see some scattered showers around and maybe pick up a tenth or so in some of those isolated storms. Ridge of high pressure is going to be in firm control over this area and over the weather over the central United States. And then as we go through time, that ridge is going to start to retreat back towards the west, and that's going to allow the storms to return to our area and also chances of showers in the morning hours and also some cooler temperatures. But tonight, mostly fair with lows in the 70s, and then tomorrow, hot with temperatures close to 100, part of cloudy skies. And then on Wednesday morning, starting off warm with lows in the upper 70s to around 80. Wednesday afternoon, hot again with temperatures around 102, 104 in Parsons. So a very toasty afternoon. Then as we go into Thursday morning, lows near 80 once again. However, there is some hope on the horizon. The early part of August looks like it might be below normal, not that far away, and we'll be kind of teetering on the edge of normal and slightly above, with above normal precip and then drier for the deserts of the Southwest. So at least we have that to look forward to. Over the next 7 days, it's going to be hot for the next several days, all the way through to Friday. And then the weekend looks better with chances of showers and storms and highs in the upper 80s and lower 90s. And hopefully, Tanya, fingers crossed, the cooler weather continues into the early part of next week.
I'm digging those in the 80s for
too.
high. You know,
Me
it's
too.
really close to
I wanted
90s,
go
but if we
cooler,
can keep
but
them down there.
That's right. We'll have to wait and see how that turns out.
We're getting there. We're
We're
starting
getting-
off August on
Hopefully we've
not a
turned
bad
the corner,
note.
but we'll see.
All right, I'm going to hold you to that.
Oh, no, please don't.
All right, thanks, Sam. Well, coming up in sports, a full breakdown of the trades made by the Cardinals and Royals ahead of tomorrow's deadline. Plus, hear about the new rules in place for Pitt State and Missouri Southern's 2023 football seasons. John Dales has those stories and more up next.
The Major League Baseball trade deadline is at noon tomorrow. The Cardinals and Royals spent the weekend making moves, getting prepared for the rest of the season and the future. Kansas City starts out by dealing away shortstop Nicky Lopez, who is known for his glove, but having a really tough season at the plate. In return, they get relief pitcher Taylor Hearn from the Braves. This is just a week after he got sent to the minors, and the Royals had a chance to sign him without trading anyone, but they passed on him anyways. Meanwhile, the Cardinals make two big-time trades. Jordan Montgomery and Chris Stratton each get sent to Texas. each of them essentially rental players for the rest of the year. Takoa Roby is one of the prospects the Cards get back, who's injured right now but will enter into their rehab facility in Florida. Meanwhile, Jordan Hicks goes to the Blue Jays, and St. Louis President of Baseball Operations John Mozeliak says they're already on to next season.
Obviously, this year has not gone as we planned, so we really want to focus on what 2024 and beyond would look like. And we felt like as we had players that were attractive to other teams, we had players that were becoming free agents, and we felt like the timing, albeit unique for the St. Louis Cardinals, we had to do this.
College football season begins a month from today for both Pitt State and Missouri Southern. And MIAA Supervisor of Officials Doug Laurie explains there will be a few rule changes teams will have to get used to in 2023.
The new rule for halftime is at 3 minutes left on the game clock. You got a 20-minute half, 3 minutes left on the game clock, the field needs to be cleared. Consecutive charged team timeouts will no longer be allowed by the same team in any individual dead ball period. With 2 minutes or more, so more than 2 minutes in the half, the clock will no longer be stopped to award a first down when the play ends in bounds.
And the FIFA Women's World Cup continues along in Australia. Team USA back in action with a late game tonight. So late, so maybe you could even say early tomorrow morning at 2 a.m. The U.S. faces Portugal. If they win or tie, Team USA will move on past the group stage into the knockout round. A loss could mean elimination, though. And as we're following the competition, we're also giving you a chance to win some Fox FIFA Women's World Cup USA swag, like a boomerang, nose coat, and a lot more. Just scan that QR code on your screen right now to start your entry, and you can find complete contest details along with official rules at KOAMnewsnow.com/giveaway. If you're looking for a free way to watch the games, remember, you can catch all of them right here on Fox 14. That's it with sports. We're back with more news after this.
A report says adopting accelerated artificial intelligence in some fields of work could significantly cut down work hours. The McKinsey Global Institute says in its generative AI report, advances in generative automation could assume some human tasks, which may reduce human workloads. McKinsey says professionals in fields of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics would see their human workload percentages drop by as much as 30% by 2030. While the rise of artificial intelligence is generating a lot of buzz, medical researchers are showing how the technology is used to help one paralyzed man regain some of his mobility. Fox News' Chris DeMeo takes a closer look.
A diving accident 3 years ago broke Keith Thomas's neck, leaving the New Yorker paralyzed from the chest down, robbing him of much of his independence.
It has left him without the ability to move his arms and his hands, without the ability to walk.
But thanks to a revolutionary new study from Northwell Health, Thomas has regained some movement and sensation in one of his arms and hands. During a 15-hour operation back in March, surgeons implanted 5 microchips into Thomas's brain. After recovering, researchers connected the chips in Thomas's brain to a computer armed with artificial intelligence.
Our goal in this clinical study was to reconnect the brain electronically to the body and also the spinal cord to promote what we call plasticity. And the goal was to have lasting movements and sensations.
The AI technology is able to interpret Thomas's thoughts and translates them into movements and feelings.
We're basically using a computer to read Keith's thoughts and then translate that into a machine that then stimulates his hand so that he can move it. And it goes the other direction as well, where when he feels something, instead of it passing through the normal pathway through the spinal cord, it is going into a computer. So it's almost like fooling the nervous system to make it work.
And one of the first things Thomas felt since his accident was his sister's touch.
It was real mushy.
Thomas still has a long ways to go, but with a lot of practice, he's already increased the strength in his arms. Chris DeMeo, Fox News.
Well, coming up, how a man in Kansas is using the state flower to make his wedding anniversary very special. A Kansas man celebrating his golden wedding anniversary decided to give his wife sunflowers, but not a bouquet's worth, more like acres worth. Abby Ray has a surprising amount of flowers he planted for her.
Sunflowers. As far as the eye can see, one couple's love story leads them to a field of flowers. Lee Wilson decided to farm a different kind of crop than he usually does this season for a very special reason.
So we're celebrating our 50th wedding anniversary, August 10th, and you know, what's a guy get his gal on their 50th? And I put a lot of thought into it, and she always liked sunflowers, and I thought this is the year to plant sunflowers. So we planted her 80 acres of sunflowers.
Just how many sunflowers is that exactly?
There's about 1.2 million flowers in this field.
That's 15,000 flowers per acre. Lee planted the field back in May secretly with the help of his son, so his wife Renee would be surprised.
It made me feel very special, and it couldn't have been a more perfect anniversary gift than a field of sunflowers.
The pair has been together almost their entire lives.
But we met in high school. She couldn't date till she was 16, and I called her on her 16th birthday, and that's when we started dating. And we had our first date was a roller skating party, an FFA roller skating party in Harper, Kansas.
When did you know she was the one?
Probably that day.
The new Pratt sunflower field has drawn in people from all over Kansas to take pictures and experience the state flower in full bloom. Do the Wilsons plan on making this a tradition?
Oh, it's been fun, but I think one time is enough for us. It's somebody else's turn next year.
The field can be seen 4 miles east of Pratt on the south side of Highway 54.
They definitely are standing in a field of their own. And that's our time for tonight. Thanks for joining us. We'll leave you with video of a baby elephant swimming for the first time. Can't beat that. Have a great night and an even better tomorrow.